Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. No, if you're a kid, get off. Go do something else. But welcome to Divorce Real Talk. I am your co host, Gio, but this episode's not about me. That the last episode was about me. You got to know my story. But today, we're going to get to know the other man, the other myth, the other legend, divorce coach, man extraordinaire. Okay, I'm gonna stop giving him compliments because I see his head getting bigger. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna introduce you to my co-host, Matteo. Brother, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic, Gio. Glad to be here. Glad to be on this mission with you, my friend. This was something that was meant to be. It was fate that put us together. And look, my name is Matteo, and a little bit about me. I grew up in an Italian household. Older Italians where you had to be tough, you had to be the man, don't show emotions, kind of thing. And that kind of affected me in later in life and relationships and such. I mean, I don't think I got a first hug from my dad until I was maybe 25 into my first marriage, and he may have had a drink or two, and I
You
don't
got a
even know
hug?
who it was. I
You
don't know
got a
who it
hug.
was.
You got a hug. I didn't get one.
Hey, it wasn't accompanied with "I love you." Okay,
All right,
so
keep telling us about you, brother.
all right, man. So I met my wife. I was in the car business, and she was a receptionist, and I was a player. I mean, it was interesting. She wouldn't date me for a year because she was a receptionist. I was a salesperson, and I would tell her, okay, if this girl called, I don't work here anymore. If that girl called, I died. If that girl called, I'm not in until Tuesday. Like I kept making excuses. So after I was trying to go after her, I mean, she's like, "You're a player. I'm not entertaining you." Finally, I won her love, and that's what it was, more of a love infatuation. We had a great life, um, house, cars, vacations, and that lasted about 3.5 years. And part of that, it was both of us for sure. Part of that is my upbringing, where I was the man and I didn't fight for her, and I didn't I didn't know anything about love languages, and I had no idea. There was no internet back then, and this is in the 90s, nothing like that. So, nothing to help me, didn't have a coach, didn't have a mentor. And that relationship fizzled out. I didn't fight for it. And that brought me to actually moving to the States for a year. I did some construction at the time. And
Now,
then I met
just before you go on, Matteo, in this marriage, were there any kids?
There were no kids. There were no kids.
Nope.
And that's actually what made it easy. It was very clean. It was a clean cut.
No kids always makes divorce easier. No
Yeah.
matter how like kids add that level of complexity. But all right, so marriage number 1 because you're on marriage number 3 now, right?
I am on marriage number three.
So
Yes.
folks, to you guys listening to this, the man's got experience, like it's there's some hustle behind that muscle. So number 1 ends, you move to the US, keep it coming.
I was broken, I got to tell you, because I was one of the first of my friends. I got married at 24. I was turning 25. And my friends started getting married after me, a couple of years, 2, 3 years after me. That was kind of the age back then. 25 to 30 was a sweet spot. I was broken. Like none of my friends were divorced. I was the first one. I felt like a failure. And I didn't it was hard for me to move on. And what I thought was just like, you know what? And you know how you say marriage is love and divorce is a business? I almost got to the point where I'm like, marriage is almost a business because I feel like I was in love before and that broke down. So where do I go next? And that led me to the second marriage where I don't want to say, that it was settling and it was a business transaction, but things did run through my head where it was like, look, we're going in
Let's
with the
call a
same.
spade. No. Let's call a spade a spade. What was it? Bring it to us. Come on.
Look, I knew this girl from before. She used to come to my house when I was married with my first wife. She was my cousin's best friend. So she's come over and she's had boyfriends and stuff. And I was living in Chicago for a year. And one day I was back in Toronto, called my cousin, and she was with her and said, "Hey, I'm with this person." And she just broke up with her boyfriend. I'm like, "Hey, hook it up." The dog that I that I am, hook it up, thinking that I just wanted to have some fun. And because she was known to the family, my uncle gave me a real talk where he brought me into the garage. I still remember, and said, "Hey, this is not something you fool around with. You're either going to get serious or just walk away." And at that point, I had pressure on me. I was already had a failed marriage, no kids. I wanted to have a kid, and she was a teacher, had a good job, was off in the summers. It was something that I kind of calculated, and we were going in with the same money. And I just figured, hey, the first marriage, I was in love, and that didn't last. Let's see what happens, kind of thing. And of course,
This is gonna be good for me. This is, let's paint that portrait of this is the way it's supposed to be. So, Jack meets Jill, they get together. This is the portrait, especially with the Italian community, as we're both a part of. It's what's expected of us.
and wait, she was Italian. So my first wife was Argentinian. So she was Italian, could communicate with my parents. It was like a good match, right? Um, so anyway, fast forward, we got married. I mean, she's a good person. We're like oil and water. Completely opposite. Everything she likes, I dislike. Everything I like, she dislikes. Um, we had a kid together, which is fantastic. My daughter is now 18. But when things went down, when I hit rock bottom, was when she was just before she turned 2. I knew the marriage was done. I had to move on. I could not take it anymore. I just had to move on. And I remember I was at the gym and I was working out, and a song came on, and the words of this song, something to the effect, I can't remember the song now, but something to the effect of not seeing your child every day. And that just killed me, man, because I knew what was coming. And I'm like, this is nuts. But I knew I had to do it for my own sanity. I had to do it, and made a shitload of mistakes. And I'm sure maybe you've heard of these. When you're doing your case evaluations, and I've heard these myself. But first thing I did when I got an attorney is let me find the attorney closest to the office I was working at. They were in
Oh
the same
boy.
building. No, it gets better. I have to find one that's cheap because I don't want to spend any money here. I know, you're cringing. I know. Um, I basically went in with a proposal that she had made up, which was crazy. I mean, I had limited access to my daughter. Drop offs were at malls where she would show up, drop her off, and hide, disappear. And then my daughter would be crying because, well, where's her mom? And giving her the separation anxiety. Like there was a lot. I'm not going to get into all the minutia of everything that went on, but a lot went on. And yeah, I learned a lot from that. And it's been a struggle. And what really hit home for me was there was a lot of years of struggle and a lot of back and forth. I didn't quite spend the 130K that you spent, but I almost wish I did because I'm sure that money was well spent, or
You
maybe you.
got what you paid for, right?
Oh,
You
I
got
definitely
what
did.
you paid for. So, folks, when we talk about divorce coaching, one of the things we talk about is how to hire an attorney. And whoever's got the best rate is not part of the qualification process.
Absolutely,
All
absolutely.
right. So carry us through. What happened?
All right. So not long after, believe it or not, a couple of months after I met my current wife, a couple of months after I got divorced. and that brought a whole new it put a whole new wrench in the mix, where now my ex saw this new woman in the picture. Literally 2 months later, I met her, and it was just my life got a lot more difficult at
Oh,
that.
you dog. Were you accused of cheating?
No, I wasn't actually. I
Oh,
wasn't.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I wasn't accused of cheating, and yeah, I wouldn't have done that. But yeah, it was close enough that wow, it's like how did you meet someone that quickly? It might have been implied somehow, but I was never really accused of that.
Okay.
But it got really bad to a point where my daughter had a lot of anxiety, uh, different types of anxiety and depression and stuff. Seen a bunch of psychologists and psychiatrists over the years, and it got to a point when she was, let's say, 14. I lost touch with her for 2 years. She wanted nothing to do with me, nothing. Like she texted me something that just killed me, and Maya, if you're listening to this killed me, and I know it killed me. And she told me, "I want nothing to do with you. I don't even want you at my wedding." Like that just put a knife in my heart and turn it 360. Like it just killed me. And I don't know. Like at that point, I was broken, completely broken. This was in 2020, I want to say. Yeah, 2020. And at that point, COVID was coming around, and she just stopped coming over, and we completely lost touch. And it was at that point where I knew no one's coming to save me. And I got to fix this shit, because that was the biggest void in my life. I was in a happy marriage with my current wife. She's got two girls. We have a boy together who's 14. But my daughter was a huge void. And that's when I started just working on myself. Everything I did, I worked on myself. I spent upwards of $50,000 on seminars, trainings. I learned NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming. It's a lot to do with mindset and the unconscious mind and limiting beliefs and all that. That's where, I don't know if you guys probably heard of Tony Robbins. He's a pretty big deal, but that's actually how he started in NLP. That's the basis of his teachings, is all NLP based. So that's what I learned. I learned timeline therapy, hypnosis, and that's what I use today to help coach people through breaking through limiting beliefs.
Now I need
Uh,
a timeout
yeah,
because I think that anybody listening is going through the same mindset that I'm having. Today, how are things with your daughter?
today things are fantastic. She's 18. We have a great relationship. Something switched, and I almost I almost got to the point. I was so frustrated as a dad that I almost wanted to give up. Like I almost said, you know what? I'm done. Like I'm just gonna pretend that I don't have a daughter. Like almost. And my wife, God bless her, she's like, "There's no way you're fighting for her to the end." And I knew that, but I needed to hear it because I just felt so defeated as a dad. And that's what brought her back. It's just me being consistent, persistent, and loving. It didn't matter what happened.
Repeat that. What did you do?
I was consistent, persistent, and I just kept loving her, and loving her. And it didn't matter.
You kept showing up every day.
Yeah,
And brother, that's what love is.
it sure
You
is.
keep
It sure is.
showing up every day.
And I truly believe, life happens for you. It doesn't happen to you. All these things that I went through has made me who I am today. I met the love of my life. Gloria. I met her in 2010. She's going to kill me. It might have been 2009, 2009, 2010. And it just, I was fighting it. That's the last thing I wanted after getting out of a second marriage. I'm like, I'm not getting married again. I was fighting it, but it just, it worked. It wasn't work. It just all came together. And she had two kids from a previous marriage. One was a 4-year-old girl and a 7-year-old girl. And I brought them in with open arms. We had a blended family, and then we decided, hey, what was great is we had such a great, strong foundation, good relationship that we had every other weekend. We were free. We didn't have the kids; they were at their other parents. So it was like we were newlyweds every other weekend. So we said, should we mess this up? Do we have another? Do we have a child? And mess this up? And we thought about it and said, you know what? We are too good not to have a child. We should have a child, and that's the best thing that we've ever done is having that child. He brings everyone together now. So there's
Love it.
hope, my friend. There is hope for everyone.
But now, what I want to know is you've done it twice. Now you're married again.
Yes.
You've spent $50,000, whatever it was, on development and everything else. Someone that I respect a lot is Simon Sinek. For those of you who don't know, he's, a speaker in the US and, very deep thought. I want to know, Matteo, what is your why? Why now do this as a divorce coach? Why your divorce playbook? Why dedicating? Dude, I know your business history and you've got success. You turned that around to get into this, and a lot of people are going to say you're a crazy MFer for doing this kind of switch. So, why did you start doing this? What's your purpose? What's your goal?
One word that I would say is I determined that this was my passion, and I've done that several ways. However, just going back a little bit, give you a bit of history there. I've been a private investigator, certified fraud examiner for 30 years. So I was in the investigation world. I had a company that had 35 investigators that I was managed a lot of personalities. We were very successful, doing very well. But it got to a point, and I had a lot of mind blowing, interesting cases. And if I
Oh, I can
mentioned
only
some of them,
imagine.
yeah, if I mentioned some of them, it would be a whole other show, and they've been on the news and stuff like that. But anyway, um, I got to a point where it just wasn't enough for me anymore. It wasn't satisfying me. It didn't give me that satisfaction. And just seeing the men and women out there, my employees, I'd be talking to them on a daily basis because I was doing all the operations and just what they were going through in their relationships with their husbands or wives, and I could see that I was helping them because as I was doing this personal development, I was learning new strategies and I was using it on them. They were my first people that I was using it on, and it was amazing how I saw how people responded to me and how they've come back to me and said, "Wow, that really works, and I feel great, and I've changed this and I've changed that." And it was at that point, at that moment, which was my turning point, saying, "Wow, this really fulfills me. Why I need to actually do this. It's a calling." It was more of a calling, and I think a lot of times why people change careers later in life is because it is a calling. It's something that just calls to them, and what they're doing is just not doing it for them anymore.
So now, what I want to know, okay, so we spoke about my personality, right? Rough, rugged, raw, no BS, direct. Like, I'll kick you off a cliff if I think it's going to make you feel better, right? What's your style? As we're going to develop this podcast, as we're going to develop your divorce playbook and everything else that we're offering, what is your coaching style? Why would somebody want to work with you?
Great question. Great question. And look,
Thank you.
I would really love to be more like you, to be honest. I'm not. I would like to be more of that no bullshit, no fluff. This is what you got to do. And that's not me 100%. I can go there at times, but my general mode is not that way. My mode is more empathy. To me, we all have a model of the world. They say that there is, one world with 8 billion people. I don't believe that. I think there's 8 billion worlds because everybody's living their own world. Everyone's world is based on what they've been taught throughout their life. That's their world. It's not the other person's world. So for me, it's helping them see the world they're looking at and helping them realize perhaps their partner is living in a different world, and bringing that together and maybe helping them change how they see their world and how they can be better, if that makes sense.
So, brother, it makes no sense for you to be more like me. As much as I take it as a compliment, brother, and I fucking love it, I do. But different worlds, right? So, my coaching style belongs to a certain world and it's going to make certain people a lot of good. But the way that you are is going to come and help a whole different branch of people. And your style, look, if there's a reason why we're working together, is because I see your style, your flavor, and it works. It can't always be the tough guy approach. It doesn't work for everybody. And that's why I even give the warning, I'm not for everybody. I think it's Brothers Osborne that has a song called I'm Not for Everyone. I'm not. I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I'm going to be somebody's shot of whiskey. I can tell you that much.
Absolutely. Not
So
everyone
it's
likes apple pie. It's as simple as that.
so you've got your style, your approach, and I think together our mission is the same, which is what brings our styles together. But I definitely think that your approach honestly could probably almost help more people than what my approach could do.
It's collective, my friend. It's collective. Look, guys, for just to give you a quick intro of how we met, I saw Gio online and I'm like, I got to talk to this guy. I know we're going to connect, and I need to talk to him. And it was about something else. And when I spoke to him, we were talking about coaching, and he told me he was working for a law firm in the States. And I'm like, what do you mean? Law firms have salespeople? Law firms do this? Because they don't do this in Canada. And he said, yeah, of course they do this. So I was bouncing some ideas off Geo. He gave me this light switch, and surely I did my research and I got a job as a director of client engagement for a family law firm in a different state from Geo's, a different firm. But we deal with men's and fathers' rights, but we also take on obviously female clients as well. We're there, and our mission is basically if you're down with wanting what's best for the kids, that's what we're there to accomplish.
Yeah, and an extra bonus is that we end up referring clients to each other whenever we have clients that are outside of our jurisdiction. So, you know, we're able to do that because we share the same values in how we work. The approach might be different, but the values are the same. It's all about creating a new beginning. It's all about, going to that next chapter of your life and really wanting the best for you, wanting the best for your children, but not this like I want to knock this person out of the park or like being mean and vicious. If you want to start this new chapter in your life, you need to do that with a light heart, free of mind, free spirit, or else it's just never going to work. And brother, the fact that we have this opportunity to work together and bring all of our knowledge, all of our experience, all of our pain, all of our everything that we've been through. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you're going through divorce, I don't care what it is, we're going to be able to help you, to guide you, to set you on the right path. But only if you're willing to listen and only if you're willing to put in the work.
Got to do the work.
So, brother, This is the end of our third episode. We had our intro show, got to know me, now got to know you. Now it's time for the real episodes to begin.
Absolutely. We're going to have some phenomenal guests, professionals in different fields that are going to bring a wealth of knowledge to this thing and just blow it up. Guys, it's going to be so exciting.
Yeah. So, episode 4, marriage is love, divorce is business. We've mentioned this a few times, but I think that for us to hit a first topic, it's going to be good to explain that because it explains a lot of why and how we do what we do. So, brother, thank you for sharing your story. In 25 minutes, you can only share so much, but I know that in the future ones, there's going to be a lot more stories, a lot more things. But I think that this allows the people to understand who you are. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for being who you are, for working with me, for coming together on this. And folks, get ready because we're here to help. We're here to kick you where the sun don't shine if you need it. And we're here to support you in any way possible. This is Divorce Real Talk. I'm Gio. That's Matteo. Peace out. We love you all. See you in the next one.